Hello, today let's talk about finding our returns or furnishing our returns. Furnishing our returns and finding a return is all the same. And a return is that report a taxpayer submits to URA, listing the transactions they have made in that tax period. This return entails supplies made, purchases made, VAT input and output, withholding tax if they have withheld any, provisional returns if they have made any provisional returns, uh, your tax payable for that period which you have computed by yourself, and any other information as required by the Commissioner General. An example of any information that may be required is every taxpayer whose annual turnover is 500 million and above, you're required to file your return with audited books of accounts. Yeah, so every information that is required by the Commissioner General is filed with your return for that period. And we have several types of returns. These include VAT returns, we have excise duty returns, stamp duty returns, withholding tax returns, rental tax returns, income tax returns, we have gamings and lotteries returns, several of them. If you're a tax resident registered with a TIN and your income in that tax period is above the threshold, then you're required to file your return, except for a few taxpayers who do not file returns. The rest, individual taxpayers, corporate companies, partnerships, trusts, NGOs, every tax resident, you are mandated to file a tax return. Those taxpayers that do not file returns include employees who exclusively earn income from one employment and that their employer of that exclusive employment withholds some of their salary, part of their salary as payee. Such employees are not required to file a return. And also, if you're in businesses like mobile money and your service provider withholds a commission, part of your commission as a withholding tax, you're not required to file a return. If you exclusively earn income from this business of mobile money, and because it's automatically your service provider will withhold a 10% of your commission. So if you exclusively earn from the mobile money business, your income, you're not required to file a return. These returns are categorized according to their timelines. We have the weekly returns which apply to lotteries and gamings, and the taxpayers who earn their income from lotteries and gamings are required to file a return at the end of every week, meaning that every end of a week, that is on Sunday, a taxpayer you have from Monday to Wednesday of the following week to file a return for that ended week, because you have 3 days from Monday to Wednesday to file that return. We have the monthly returns. The monthly returns apply to VAT returns, rental tax returns, withholding tax returns, payee, local excise duty, and these are filed at the end of every month. At the end of every month, the taxpayer has 15 days to file a return for the month ended. For example, if we are in March, taxpayer has from 1st April to 15th April to file the return for March. Then we have the annual returns, which are the income tax returns. These are filed at the end of a period of 12 months or a year. Different taxpayers have different income years, but the Ugandan official income year is from July, 1st July to 30th June. So if you follow that year of income, at the end of every June, you have from July to December to file the return. And if you have your own substituted year, let's say from January to December, then you have from January to June to file a return for that year that ended. Because you have 6 months every end of the tax period to file a return for that accounting period. Then we have provisional tax returns. Provisional tax returns are a provision given by the income tax law to income tax earners, income tax payers, file their returns in installments. If you're a company, you have a chance to file your return in 2 installments every after 6 months. If you're an individual, you are given a chance to file a return in 4 installments quarterly, meaning that a company has up to, if your accounting period is from January to December, you have up to June, January to June, to file the provisional return. The first provisional returns is filed up to the end of June. You must have filed your provisional return. Then you file the final return at the end of the accounting period. If it is an individual, since you are supposed to file these provisional returns quarterly, you have from January to March to file the first provisional return. Then you subsequently file those following returns according to your timeline. You always have at the end of the quarter, file the provisional return. Provisional returns are amendable. You can amend it in case you overestimated your income of that year or you underestimated. You can always amend. And remember, in case you don't amend but your returns are different from what actually happens, you will be penalized for misinforming URA about your income for that period. So every time there is a change in what you estimated, please amend that provisional return you made in order not to be penalized. Yes. Then in case you realize that by the end of the deadline, I won't be able to file a return. At the end of the 15th day, I will not be able to file a return for the previous month. There is a provision of asking for an extension. But please do not wait until the end of the deadline to file for an extension. For instance, don't wait on the 16th day to file for an extension. At the URA portal, there is a form where you can apply for an extension of the due date of filing. This due date of filing, when it is extended, it does not extend the due date of payment. Therefore, it means you must pay your tax in time, even though you have extended the time for filing. And when you totally fail to file your return, what happens? You are fined, you are penalized. And according to the TPC, when you fail to file your return, or when you file it late, you are subjected to a penalty of 200,000 shillings, or 2% of the tax liability of that tax period you've not filed. Whichever is higher, it is not a choice. Whichever is higher is what you pay as a penalty. And again, when you don't file your return, you're calling on the Commissioner General to file for you. And the Commissioner General will file what they think you have transacted. And you know what that means? It may be a higher return than you actually did made in that tax period. So please avoid tax penalties, avoid default assessments by the Commissioner General by filing your return in time. Yes, of that period. Uh, I've had clients whose whose tax has accumulated simply because they failed to file a return during the COVID time. Whenever you don't make any transactions, whenever you make a loss, please file the return. When you don't make any transactions in that tax period, file the return. As long as you are registered and you have a TIN, file a return. Even if it is a nil return, file it. That is the only way URA will know that you did not transact in that period. In COVID, people did not file returns, thinking that everyone knows after all we are not working. But at the end of the day, the assessments are coming in and they are being assessed for even the time when they were not working. And this is because people did not file returns, thinking that since we are not making any transactions, we are not supposed to file returns. But as long as you are registered and you have a TIN, please file the return. If it is a nil return, file it. That is why it's called a nil return. If you made a loss, that is how URA will know that you have made a loss, and this loss will be carried forward the following year or following tax years. So please file the returns and avoid such default assessments. Something else very important to note is about partnerships. Partnerships are special, they don't pay tax. Partnerships don't pay tax, but then they are required to file the return. Don't sit back and say, I am a partnership. We don't file returns because we don't pay tax. Yes, you don't pay tax, but you file the return. Then the respective partners will pay their taxes. Otherwise, if you have any question, please ask them on the comment section, or you can reach me directly and I will be able to answer your questions. I know different people have different individual personal questions. Please reach out and I will be able to answer your questions. Thank you and remain tax compliant.